Hi there, and welcome to whatever it is we're going to call this. My wife read Mistborn.
Yes.
So, basically, you guys know me. I'm Overlord Jebus, also known as Ben sometimes, and you know me from Shardcast, because I'm a giant Brandon nerd, and read all his books multiple times. This is my wife.
Hi.
What is your name, wife?
So my name is Lucy.
Everyone knows you as the Overlady as well, because you sometimes appear in the back of Shardcast bringing me teas, coffees, and cakes.
Of course, I sometimes make cakes.
Yes.
Shaped like shoes.
Yes. Yeah, it was a good-ass shoe.
I know.
So you did the anniversary cake as well.
Oh, yeah.
That was fantastic.
That was delicious.
That was very good. So, the reason we're here now is, you probably guessed it from the title, whatever we've called this.
Whatever we call this.
Whatever we call this. We will call it that. That I managed to finally convince the lady of my life to finally read Mistborn.
No, you didn't.
Oh, did I not?
No.
No? Okay, I didn't convince her, but she read them, and that's a good thing. And so we thought we'd do like a cool little series where I go through with my wife who's no idea about this Cosmere stuff with me, and then we like talk about the books after you finish reading them.
Yeah, sounds good.
Cool. So bit of context, what do you normally read? I never really pegged you as like Brandon as your thing, which is why I never pushed it on you too hard.
Well, you never pushed Mistborn on me.
That's fair.
So I started off by reading a lot of like twisted fairy tales and like Russian inspired books and things like that. And then I started reading fantasy series where they had like big battles in them, and I kind of got really into that. And I just finished reading The Priory of the Orange Tree.
Yes.
I think that's what it's called.
That's what it was, yeah.
And I didn't enjoy the book very much, and I wanted something more. I can't remember how I got onto it, but I was looking at fan art on a website, and I stumbled across some Mistborn stuff, and it was pictures of Vin sitting on top of like large buildings looking out across the mists, and I was like, that looks cool as shit. I realised it was Mistborn, and I was like, well, hang on a sec. I know that Ben constantly talks about that. Constantly. But he's never sort of gone into what it is about with me. So I'm
pretty sure I have, but I'll let it slide.
Trust me,
Yeah,
you didn't.
Okay.
So then was on Reddit, and there's a subreddit about men writing women, and it's normally like
oh yes,
yeah,
yes,
it's normally like badly written women.
The
and
breasts
someone
bounce
had made
spoobily down the stairs.
And someone had made a post about a character that Brandon had written. So I ended up reading it, and it was a description of Vin when she wears the ball gown for the first time before going to her first ball. And I was like, that actually sounds okay. So then I looked into what Mistborn was about, and I was like, it's a book about a tiny female who is f***ing badass.
Don't know if you can tell just from like this video.
You can't, because for some reason you're slouched.
Because let me sit up properly. Let me just sit up like a normal person would.
So I am 4'11".
Yeah.
So I am tiny. How tall are you?
I'm 6'1".
Yeah, exactly.
You
like
literally like here on the mustache.
And like the fact that the main character is like tiny does it for me, because I have never stumbled across any other book where the main character is a tiny female, and I love it.
Yeah, it's great. I love our tiny little murder lady. She's great. Vince,
she is.
Yeah.
She is great.
Yeah.
She's coming back.
Yeah. So Lucy's now read all of Era 1. Mm-hmm. You actually just started Our Overlord today because you have zero patience and you have to immediately jump into it.
I'm halfway through.
You've blown through it in like 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her she's not even allowed to read the synopsis to Secret History, but I did tease that Vin does show up a little bit. And
therefore I'm reading it next.
And so you're just blowing through Era 2 so you can get to Secret History as quick as you can.
I need more Vin.
Yeah.
I need more Vin.
We all need more
I'm
Vin.
devastated that she's not in Era 2.
I know.
She could have been made an immortal. She could still be around. I'm so upset.
I know. I miss her whenever I go back and like reread them. It's like I realize I miss Vin.
Yeah.
Like you go back and you read it and you're like, Vin is just great. And she is just this adorable murder lady who just takes no shit from anyone. And yeah, I've read these books now like 5, 6, 7 times. And every single time I read them, I'm like, Vin is the best. So as your first time through, let's go through the books one by one. I know you read all 3 of them basically back to back in like a very short amount of time.
Yes.
But let's start with the Final Empire. What did you think? What was your opinions on the Final Empire?
I absolutely love the Final Empire. It was just a really good book. I was devastated when Kelsier died, and I spent about a week like shouting at Ben, telling him that Kelsier was going to come back.
The entire the way through
and he
Era
does,
1.
so I'm okay.
The entire way through Era 1, it was just nothing but, it was like, Kelsey's coming back, he's going to come back. And then all those times 10 soon pretends to be him, or when Spook starts hearing him, you're like, see, I told you he'd come back, he is, he's right there.
He came back, and that's all I needed. It's all good.
It's all good.
I absolutely love the fact that the Lord Ruler could do both frugamy and I've forgotten the word.
Alamancy.
I'm not good with words.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, to be fair, you got frugamy. I reckon frugamy is harder to remember than Alamancy.
It is, but frugamy you come across so infrequently.
Yeah.
That like it just doesn't stick in my head. Alamancy, you literally come across it every single page.
Well done for remembering frugamy.
Thank you. I was absolutely obsessed with Vin and Elend, and I'm so glad they ended up together. So glad.
Oh my god, when you were reading it and you were like, nothing bad is allowed to happen to Elend. And I was like, and you're like, no.
Nothing bad happens to him.
I'm like, yeah, nothing bad is allowed to happen to him. I'm like, okay. And you're like,
first book, nothing bad happens to him.
Nothing bad does happen to Elend in the first book.
He makes some good speeches. He discovers that Scar are intelligent, and he's so happy about it.
Yeah.
And life is good.
Yeah.
Life is good. First book, life is good.
Yes, all great. Nothing bad happens in the first book, other than, Kelsey dying, but he comes back, so it's okay.
He comes back, so it's fine.
I was going to say, you surprised me, because you guessed that the Lord Ruler was an Alamancer and a Feruchemist really early on. It was like...
Yeah. Well, it's when he's first described as wearing lots of metal, and because he wears lots of metal, it caught on in fashion. Now, I kind of had that thought of, hang on a sec, why would an Alamancer wear a load of metal? That seems really silly. And then I kind of clicked that, it's because nobody can control the metal because it's in him. Yeah. And it sort of spiraled from there, and I was like, he's both. That's why he's so powerful. Yeah. It's why no one can like defeat him or work out like how strong his power is. It's because he's got both. Yeah. Simple.
I was gonna say it was a good guess, and you were pretty on the money with him. You did think for a while he was using emotional malemancy to project a hologram of himself.
Oh, and you thought... I have the best theory that he was like this shriveled up old man that just sat in one room, which I was not wrong with.
You were not wrong. He does like to do that sometimes.
He could use a metal that he hadn't told anyone about to project himself. So like he never actually appeared. He never left his little room. He was just a projection. And that's why, like, he had that, like, weird, like, overbearing, like, emotional sense, because he was having to push his power so hard to, like, show where he was. So obviously he never attends any of, like, the parties or anything. Yeah. Like, he only ever sort of, like, appears in the execution. So I figured that maybe he had a metal that could do that. I thought it was a great idea.
Do you know what? It was a good idea with the information you had when you knew those metals that you didn't know what they did. Yeah. So yeah, you had some fantastic theories going through. Here's the thing as well. We've read the same books before.
Yes.
But one of the things we don't really do is we don't theorize like you do in a Brandon book. Because you can't. Brandon has a certain way of writing that makes you want to theorize, and it makes you want to be like, hey, what's going on here? What's this? What's that? So that element, I'm glad to see that it wasn't just like a me thing. It's not just like a fan. Like Brandon's writing makes you want to theorize.
Kind of.
Okay.
So I usually theorize about every book I read because I imagine that that's quite a normal thing to do. Okay. And normally we're not reading the book at the same time.
No, yeah.
So I don't tend to talk about my books. Just like if I ever read a book, I'm like, oh, Ben might like this. I don't like talking about it because then I don't want to ruin anything for him. So I sort of like keep it in my head and I theorize in my head. But going into this knowing that you had already read it.
Yeah.
So I intended to read the whole series without telling Ben and just fucking drop it on him one day.
Yeah. And how long did that last?
I got about 50 pages in before I just had to like talk to him about it.
Well, it was we were taking the dog for a walk and I just said, hey, you finished your book. What book are you reading now? We talk about the books we read.
So I simply said, I've just started this new book. I can't remember what it's called, but it's about a gang of thieves and they're plotting to like overthrow the government.
I think what you said was there is a gang of thieves and they're trying to steal the biggest thing they can. And I just turned to you and, are you in Mistborn?
And that was it.
And that was it. And then it was just, and then every day I was getting multiple texts a day, just being like, is this thing? Is this thing? Is this that? Great. Highly recommend getting your other half to read Mistborn because it's great.
But sell it to her as it's a tiny, tiny human.
And a hot murder dad.
And you've got it. Not how you sold it to me.
I swear I told you multiple times that Vin was tiny.
Trust me, you did not. Otherwise, I would have jumped on that.
Okay. Cool. So, Well of Ascension.
Yes.
I'm not the biggest fan of the first 90% of Well of Ascension.
Oh.
The last 10%, love it. I think it makes the whole book worthy. What did you think?
I really liked Well of Ascension.
Really?
I liked the whole... Because it starts with Luthadel being under siege. And it's very much, from the beginning, how do we fix this? And everything they start doing to help goes horrifically wrong.
Yeah.
And just when they're starting to pull it back, it's like, oh, we're not in charge anymore. We've got no power here.
I've lost the vote,
Yeah. Like, I thought that was really interesting. And the way that they then kind of went, well, hang on a sec. No. We're going to keep going. We're not going to give up. We're just going to keep pushing through. We're going to keep running this city. We're just going to have to do it slightly quietly. And I really like that. And I like how they fixed everything.
Yeah.
What?
Up until the very end.
They fixed everything.
What, in Well of Ascension?
Yeah. Nothing bad happens at the end of Well of Ascension.
Do you forget the bad thing that happens at Well of Ascension?
Nothing happens at the end of Well of Ascension.
I'll say, what was I going to say? I thought we had an interesting conversation whilst you were reading Well of Ascension because in my mind, I remember Elend being a really kind of sappy milquetoast kind of, goody two shoes. I completely forgot that Elend is actually pretty much a big of a badass.
Yeah.
But because he's next to Vin, and Vin's just like murder. Yeah, Vin is top. Vin is murder is not just an option; it's the first option I go for every time. And then so when Elend is all like, "Let's try talking first," I'm like, "Nerd." I'm like,
no, he is quite badass. Like the fact that obviously in the first book he's at these big fancy parties and he's just sat reading.
Yeah.
And like he's met this girl that he quite likes.
Yeah.
He knows is beneath him.
Yes.
So he just goes up to a table, just drops a stack of books down and is like, I'm reading here. Like that for me is like top flirting. I love that.
Bit of book flirting.
And like obviously he's just a nice person. So at the beginning of the book he's trying to be in charge and he's capable of being in charge, but he's so like unsure of himself. And it's only when Tindwyl, thank you, I can't say her name. It's only when she's like, no, man up, stop being silly, you've got this, you're all good. And he's like, yeah, I don't have to keep asking for permission, I can do it. And like he steps into himself so well.
That moment where she's like, you gave them the ability to vote you out? Are you mad?
Yes. I absolutely love that.
It was such a good mirror. How attached were you how did you feel at the end during the battle when Dox and Tindwyl died? You were pretty...
Don't hate me.
Okay. Ooh. We've got a spicy opinion incoming.
I like Tindwyl.
Yeah.
Not a fan of Sazed at all.
Really?
Sorry. Yeah, every time I got to one of his chapters, I just started like trying to read it as quickly as I could to get through it, which is probably why I missed so much.
You did miss a lot. You picked up the stuff was going on with the prophecy.
Yeah.
But I think you thought the prophecies were from other ancient civilizations or something like that.
Well, I thought that maybe the prophecy was lots of different prophecies, like this has happened multiple times and each time there's a prophecy about it and they've just sort of like all got mixed together at some point.
Yeah.
So that was my theory on that one.
It was a pretty good
But
theory.
again, I didn't really pay much attention to the staged stuff, so I missed some little details.
That's fine.
I just find him so boring as a character.
Oh, I'm gonna have to ask you about him in Hero of Ages.
Oh, please don't.
When we'll get to him. Oh, the spy plot line. So the spy plot line in Well of Ascension.
Oh,
where
yeah.
She's trying to root out the spy. You were throwing everyone under the bus during that. You were like, it's this person, it's this person, it's this person.
Well,
and I'm like,
why would you ever suspect the Cadra?
Yeah.
You know? But then afterwards you're like, yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
In the immortal words of my little brother, when he read it, the dog's a snake.
Because obviously in the first book, there's only one scene where you see any other Cadra, and that is with Lord Luthadel.
Lord.
I don't know. Daddy.
Oh, Daddy. Strathventure.
Strathventure. There we go. It's only when the only other time you see a Cadra is with him for like one scene, writing a document, and you just forget about it. And then as soon as it was found out there was a Kendra spy.
Kandra.
Thank you.
You're doing Kandra's
I
fine.
can't.
Kandra's fine.
So as soon as you found there was a spy, I was like, right, it's Tensoon.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only other one we've met, so it has to be him. I just couldn't guess who he was impersonating.
Yeah. I was going to say, when you first said, oh, they're looking for the spy now. Oh, no, you said, oh, she's got a dog now.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, so you've met... And I almost said, oh, so you've met Tensoon. I was like, no, don't say that. Oh, so you've met Orisha. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, after discovering that he was a spy and actually going back to the beginning where he can't remember a conversation with her, you're like,
yeah.
How did I miss it? They literally tell me like 3 pages later that they won't know recent information.
Yeah.
Completely missed it. Feels so stupid.
On rereads, that bit is fantastic. What else is in Well of Ascension?
Zane.
Oh, Zane! How could I forget about Zane?
Love Zane.
You love Zane?
Yeah. He was just a sweet little boy who just... He just wanted to be loved. He wanted the attention. He had this brother who got to grow up with everything and still rejected his dad.
Yeah.
And he didn't get any attention from his dad, even though he was the Mistborn.
Even though he was the Mistborn kid and he still gets shafted.
And you know, the voice in his head just kept telling him to kill everyone. Can't think what that voice could have been. Did actually guess that one. I'm quite happy with that. As soon as in the third book it mentioned...
Oh, yeah.
Guess that. So it's all good.
Nice.
I got it.
You got it.
Just
you got
a book
it.
too late.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just really sweet and he just... Right.
This dude turns up at Vin's house and goes, got to go murder 400 people in this guy's house.
Right,
and
we
Vin's
will,
like,
we will get to that.
Such a sweetheart he
We
is.
will get to that.
Okay.
But he finally finds the one person in the whole world that the voice isn't telling him to kill, and she's with his brother. And he's trying so hard to get her attention, get her to like him, get her to realise that they should be together because they're both Mistborns, and she still rejects him. And then she kills him. And it's so sad.
It is. I get such goosebumps at that moment every time as well. Especially because in these dying moments, the voice was like,
no.
You were never crazy. And it's like...
I felt so bad for him.
I do really like Zane. I find him as a good alternative to Elend. He's quite literally just supposed to be a dark emo version of Elend to say, hey Vin, do you want to do murder things?
Okay, so murder things. So I absolutely loved when he was like, hey Vin, should we just go and kill a load of people? And she was like, you know what? Yeah. So they both just go off to Set's
Manor.
Keep.
Keep.
And they just destroy it. I absolutely loved how they're like, look how powerful I am.
Yeah.
Wipe out 40 guards in one sweep.
Yeah.
You know, oh, look at this entire floor full of guards. I'm just going to do one quick little move. They're all going to go flying out the windows.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
It was like every time their haze killers turn up, and it's like haze killers, they only ever turn up to point out that how useless they are at everything.
Yes.
They're like, we've got like 100 haze killers. I'm going to go after those 2 Mistborn. And nah, just not having any of it.
And then obviously they get upstairs and Vin manages to take control of Ruin, and she's like, why am I killing these?
Control of Ruin?
Because obviously Ruin is the one that got her to go there.
Whispering in her head and all that, yeah.
And then she sort of snapped away from it, like, hang on a sec. No, I don't want to kill these people. I trust Elland. He said that we needed to talk this problem out. I trust him. So I'm just not going to kill these 2 people. I'm going to just leave them in a burning building.
Vince sounded there like, you ever think that murder bad? And Zane's like, no.
But yeah, she just leaves this disabled guy and his son at the top of this big keep that's already burning on fire. Genuinely don't know how they actually escaped. Because
I don't know. They had really good wheelchair ramps. I don't know.
Because it was very much on fire.
Yes, it was very on fire.
And then she's sort of like, Zane, it's not working out at the moment, love. I'm going to go back to Elland because he's way hotter than you. Yeah. And Zane's like, oh, okay, I'll go and sulk with Daddy then. I love the whole Straff being addicted to something and it obviously not being Zane that's been poisoning him. Zane's just messing with him.
Yeah.
And it was his mistress all along because he wouldn't sleep with her. I think that's great. All because she turned like 27.
Yeah, and it's like, and you're done.
You're done.
You're done. Away with you.
The twist that he was sleeping with the mistress and like...
I don't know if you guys remember that
too much.
Straff was sleeping with a woman that looked exactly like Vin. Mm-hmm. And he's really, really creepy. And I was like, I completely forgot about that.
Oh, no. No,
you're not. That's not what you're talking about.
No, the mistress that he kept, the one that mixes his poisons, and the 15-year-old are very different.
Oh,
he's got multiple mistresses.
Sorry, I do apologise.
Come on,
yes.
What kind of lord doesn't?
I know, right? Ugh.
So much so that it's in contracts later on.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He has a mistress that mixes potions for him, and because she's now like 27, he's like, no, I don't want to sleep with you anymore. You've aged too much for me. Gross. Mm-hmm. So gross. Mm-hmm. But she ends up in a relationship with Zane and they work together to bring him down.
I completely forgot about that.
Yeah.
They're working together, yeah.
Because obviously Straff then thinks Zane's poisoning him, keeps calling for the lady, and she's the one that's doing it the whole time, which is amazing.
Yeah.
So good. It was such a good twist.
It's a very good twist. That Well of Ascension it has a lot going on, and that, like I said, it's that last 10% where it pays off for what I consider to be a relatively kind of drawn out kind of. I want to say boring. It's never boring.
I've just realised we haven't even got to the final battle.
Exactly. This is why I'm like.
But this is what I mean. Like
half an hour already.
You say that it's boring, but there's so much that happens in that bit.
Yeah.
Like when Ben said, "Oh, you might not like the second one. It's just a load of politics and talking."
Yeah.
I was a bit like, "Oh, maybe I'll just stick with the one."
Your reply to that was, I said it was like it's just a load of like King Ellen being in charge of things. You were like, I'm so down for King Ellen being in charge of things, tell people what to do.
To be fair. And then it was really interesting. It was probably, I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
And then obviously Zane comes back to kill Vin. They end up fighting.
Yeah.
She ends up stabbed.
Yeah.
Ends up then marrying Elland.
But she does Does that happen in Well of Ascension?
Yeah.
Aww.
Yeah. She gets stabbed in the boob, and Ellen's like, don't know if I should be watching this. And she's like, no, let's get married, it's fine. As you do.
Amazing. As you do. You got stabbed in the boobs before we married, so it's fine. Yeah, it's all good. It's fine.
And then the final battle with the Colossus and Vin...
Kolos,
sorry. And then Vin realising that she can take control of them. And...
Yeah. And then...
and then just walking up to people and being like, this is my army. He is now Emperor.
Yeah.
Bow down.
Yeah.
Bow down. Like,
first you got the, is it a bird, is it a plane, or is it...
I was about to talk about that. Yeah. That's what I mean, like, there's so much in this book.
Yeah.
How you say it's boring, I don't know. But the fact that she's this tiny, tiny human with a massive sword.
Yeah.
And she's like, I know what I can do with this. I'm just going to go and cut Strath directly in half.
Yeah. And his horse.
And his horse.
Poor horse.
I know.
he probably beat that as well, let's be fair.
He probably did. He was an awful man.
He was.
I'm so glad he died.
Yeah.
Loved it. Yeah, all good.
Good, excellent. And then there's the whole... they actually get to the well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That didn't happen.
Oh, did that not happen?
No.
Nothing bad happened.
Nothing bad happens. It was a great book.
Ellen didn't get stabbed. It's fine, guys. No. I know.
It's alright because Vin was like, it's okay. He'd want to die. And she just lets him die.
Yeah.
So it's all good.
I did love how you fell for the whole ruin thing. Hook, line, and sinker. Because you were on the second, third to last chapter, and you just turned to me and you were like, I think that Vin is supposed to go into the well, and then instead of using the power, she needs to let it go. Instead of using the power to fix things. And I was like, oh, is that what you think is it?
Well, the last person that took the power
obviously
kept it, and the world went to ruin.
Yeah.
So, it logically, because, it would seem that you're supposed to let it go. But then, like a classic twist that I did not see coming at all, obviously, you did have to keep it, you did have to use it.
Yeah.
Because otherwise bad stuff happens, and bad stuff happened.
And it's, I am free!
But Ellen was a Mistborn.
And then Ellen was
okay.
Mistborn, so it's all good.
He came back, he didn't die.
Yeah.
I was happy.
Ooh, that was the other thing as well. When we were talking, you were saying about how... Because whenever you got really close to the end of a book, I'd look over your shoulder, I'd see where you were, and then I would just start reading the climax because they're so good. And I just start reading along with you. And I remember there's the bit where Marsh is attacking Caesar at the end of Well of Ascension. And I remember saying to you, like, afterwards, the stuff he says... Like, the stuff that Marsh says, where he's being controlled by Ruin, he's clearly got Ruin in his head, makes perfect sense, and you can almost imagine Ruin's side of the conversation perfectly from what the random bits of... It seems like Marsh is just going mad.
Yeah.
But you can hear it, you can almost feel it in yourself. It's great. Continuity is fantastic.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then we got Hero of Ages.
Yes.
What did you think of Hero of Ages?
Hated it.
You hated it?
Hated it.
Why'd you hate it, Lucy?
Worst book in the world.
Why'd you hate it, Lucy?
We'll get to that.
Okay, we'll get to it.
We will get to that.
Okay.
So obviously it starts off with my favourite Emperor and Empress being Emperor and Empress. Obviously taking over the cabins, finding all of the secret stores, trying to work out what to do.
Yeah.
Obviously they know that the end is coming. We now know that the Emperor wasn't a bad guy. And he wasn't a bad guy. He was trying to help them.
What did I say? No matter how good the Rashek ends up being, he was still a racist asshole. Like, it's like, yes, he tried to save the world, but he also, like, genocided people. So it's like, swings and roundabouts, Yeah.
I mean, he did try.
He tried.
He couldn't help it. He was already corrupted before he even took the power.
Yeah.
There was nothing he could do.
Yeah.
Obviously, Tensoon
doing his old thing.
Having to go and be like, guys, come and help.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, no, mate. Go back in your cell. Oh, you think this dog body's embarrassing? We'll give it back to you. And he's like, yes, please do.
he's like, yes, dog is great.
Obviously, they're going around trying to find everything. They're taking more...
cities and... Kolos?
Kolos.
Yeah.
They're finding more Kolos, making an even bigger army, and all is good.
Yeah.
And they're trying to bring down the Inquisitors, but... Yeah...
I like how Inquisitors, they start off being the scariest thing ever, and then by book 3, you're just kind of like... They're taking them down, like 2 or 3 at a time. They're
Training them, it's all good.
Yeah. Duralumin.
I can't say words.
Geranium's a plant. You know this.
They don't have plants.
No, they don't.
They died a long time ago.
They do now.
Don't. Nothing bad happened.
Is it too raw? Is it still too
so raw?
Yeah, you finished these last night, didn't you? So
yeah, I finished this last night.
Yeah.
I cried for a solid 2 hours afterwards.
You were inconsolable.
Completely.
You were. It was just that whole ending is just so bittersweet, though you didn't see it as sweet at all. You were just bitter.
Yep. Oh yeah.
But they got their dance. They went to the.
They finally danced together, and it was perfect.
Yeah.
He got his book out.
He got the book from when they first met, and it was adorable.
It was like the best moment, but that's like the only happy moment they had together.
Yeah.
In the entire 3 years they were together.
I think it was like 5 years. Because there's a year between each book, and each book is a year.
They were together for 3 years.
3 years.
Married for 3 years.
Oh, married for 3 years. Yes. Yeah. I'll give you that. That's
Thank
fine.
you.
I'll allow. So that was your opinion at the end. Then it was.
So.
Okay.
I absolutely loved the final fight scene with Vin, where she's desperately trying to fight the Inquisitors.
Like 15 Inquisitors.
And Marsh obviously manages to rip the earring out of her ear, so she's finally able to do things again. I'd guessed that one as well.
You'd guessed quite a lot of hemalurgy. I think I gave away too much hemalurgy.
I don't think you did.
Okay, because you guessed not only Vin's earring very early on.
Yeah. Well, it was as soon as Spock got Spook, got taken control of, and I was like, it's because he's got metal in him and it went through another person, and that's how Ruin can control him. And I was like, there's only one other character that has metal in them that his voice is in their head, and that's Vin. Yeah. And then I was like, no, that means that Vin is going to kill like Elend or something, and everything's going to go wrong. I'm so glad that didn't happen.
It was quite funny. It was very early on. It was like first quarter of book 1. You turned to me and you were like, what's Vin's earring made out of? And just me not thinking you'd think much. I was like, it's bronze. Why'd you ask? And you're like, and then immediately you got real suspicious of that earring real quick. I was like, it's fine.
But I think it's because Marsh had just been given like bronze spikes or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so hemology can be controlled by more than just steel. Okay. Spook's now under the influence, and he's hearing Kelsia, because Kelsia is now back.
Yeah, you're like, look, Kelsia's back, and I'm like, yeah.
I clicked pretty
Very
much
quickly.
Immediately that it wasn't Kelsia. It was the same voice that was controlling Zane. I guessed that instantly. Yeah. And I was like, oh no, Vin.
Yeah, it's oh no.
And I was like, oh no, how long until she realises?
You basically spent like the next half a day being like, I don't want to read anymore because I know it's going to be bad, and I'm like, it's fine, it'll be fine in the end. It wasn't fine in the end, but it'll be fine.
Well, we had people over, so I couldn't read anyway. So thank goodness. But I just spent like the entire time sulking, like, no, I don't want to read it because something bad's going to happen to Spook or Vin. She's going to kill Elend. I can't.
She didn't in the end.
So it's okay.
It's alright, Marsh did.
No. Please don't.
Okay.
So yeah, Spook just wants to be a big boy. He just wants to be important. He just wants to be with the others.
Yeah.
So he becomes addicted to tin.
Yeah.
To the point that he can't see.
Yeah. Did you expect that gangly little kid from the first book to turn into basically Batman?
No. No. But it was lovely. It was like, yes, because I really like Spook.
Yeah. Spook's a sweetheart.
It was nice to see him sort of growing so quickly. Like, the second he's on his own, he's like, right, how do I control this situation? And he was planning by himself, and he was coming up with ideas, and he just wanted to be like Kelsia. And he did good. He did good. I liked him.
He's a good lad. He's a good lad, that guy is.
And he managed to find the spike in the Citizen, and he managed to save him.
Yeah.
And then all was okay. He got everyone down into the cavern.
Yeah.
He saved everyone in the city. He's a good boy.
He's a good lad.
Good boy. Yeah. Got to be a Mistborn in the end.
Got to be a Mistborn in the end, and that's the important thing.
Didn't get to see it.
You don't get to see it. But
and that's the only thing that happened in the end of that book.
Nothing else. Nothing bad happened.
Nothing happened at the end of that book.
I think we're going to have to talk about Vin and Ellen at the end of the book. How?
So,
yeah.
When they found the atium, when Vin led Ellen to the atium in the end, and he was just downing it with all the soldiers, trying to burn it as quickly as he could, I thought that was absolutely amazing.
It was the coolest stuff.
You brought hundreds of thousands of Colossus.
Yeah, Kolos.
I'm going to keep calling them Colossus.
Just call them Colossus.
You brought hundreds of thousands to me. Of course, I was going to burn it to try and fight them.
Yeah.
What did you expect to happen here? And Ruin's like, no! And he's like, ha ha ha. And then Marsh is like, phew.
Yeah.
And then nothing bad happens.
And then nothing bad happens. Marsh goes, phew, and then everything
nothing bad happens. Ellen takes a nap.
Yeah, Ellen takes a nap in a field, and he has a nice nap, and then Vin comes down and has a nice nap too.
No. Vin's like, well done, Ruin.
Yeah.
That was the only thing I was living for. Congrats.
Yeah.
You brought your own downfall.
It's like, well done, Ruin. You played yourself.
And then she murders him. Because she murdered him.
Because that is what Vin's first and only solution to any problem is just murder.
And that's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. In the Final Empire, that's what you need to do to survive.
Yeah. And then she takes a nap next to Ellen.
And then she also takes a nap, yeah.
And then Sazed, who I can't stand.
Yes! Sorry, you were going to talk about how your opinion of Sazed in Hero of Ages.
He's a scholar, and that's fine, but he spends the whole time talking about all these different religions, none of which he believes in, none of which he thinks work at all, and it's like, okay. And like, he wasn't too bad in the second book, but the third book with him being all like moody and depressed, he was just such a downer. Like, I found, again, third book, I found myself just trying to get through his chapters.
Oh man, I really like Sazed stuff.
No.
And I think that's one of the things Brandon's talked about, is because Sazed spends so much of the third book like really depressed. Initially, you know, when he's going through the religions, that initially wasn't part of that storyline. He had to add that in just to give Sazed something to do.
Yeah, I wish he hadn't.
You'd rather he just moped around, did nothing the whole book.
I would rather that they occasionally mention that he was like still in his room, hasn't come out yet, you know?
Rather than actually like seeing him.
Yeah.
Oh, but you get some
and then
Farukmi stuff and...
Well, that's the thing, is that I didn't get as much Farukmi as I wanted.
That's fair.
Because he spent all of his time being like, no, I'm not going to do Farukmi because the woman that I kind of liked died.
Yeah, that's fair.
So like, he didn't use his power at all, and then at the end he's like, I really should have been charging these so that I could use my power. I have none now. And then he becomes God.
Yeah.
And I just wish that he had just put the power in Vin, or put the powers in Vin and Ellen, and let them be gods together.
Yeah.
You know?
That's fair.
If one was ruin and one was
preservation,
they could have worked together quite happily because they love each other. And they would have been okay. Or, you know, once he had decided that he was going to fix the world, he could have brought them back to life. I don't know why he wasn't able to. I think it's so wrong that he didn't.
That's fair. I think one thing I should tell you is 80, the guy who was the vessel for Ruin.
Yeah.
He has been described elsewhere as a very a kind-hearted soul. He was, when he took up Ruin, it almost seems like he kind of I haven't told you about the shattering and all that kind of thing. But where the shatters come from? Okay. I'll tell you about that at some point.
Yeah.
But so when 80 took up Ruin, it almost seems like he was like sacrificing himself because he was a very kind-hearted soul, and he took up what has, from what we've seen, is the most destructive shard.
But if Vin was Ruin,
would go so much worse for everyone.
No, because she'd still be alive and it's okay.
No, because unlike 80, who was like, ruin things, yeah, I'm gonna make volcanoes and I'm gonna like send people. Vin would just be like, dead. You just kill everyone.
Exactly.
That's not a good thing.
But if Sazed had brought her back, her and Ellen could have seen the flowers. They
know.
didn't get to see flowers.
It's okay. It's
God,
okay.
I'm going again.
Oh, no, it's okay. You'll be all right.
I'm trying not
I know.
to. I'm genuinely trying not to cry right now.
Well, we can stop wrapping this up. It's
Yes,
okay.
please.
It's okay.
I need to go and cry some more. And then I need to go and finish
Alloy of Law.
Alloy of Law.
Then Shadows of Self, which is one of my favourites. Bands of Mourning. And like I said, all three, I think each of them, they're only like 100k pages. Sorry, 100k words.
I don't know. I go off pages.
You go off page numbers. But yeah, they're all about two-thirds of the size of the other ones. So they're actually shorter books.
I've got through half a book in a day.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You'll be on Secret History by the end of the week.
I hope so.
What day is it?
I better be.
It's Tuesday.
Because I need more.
Yes.
I need more Vin. I need more Vin in my life.
Yeah.
Can we just have more Vin, please?
I know. I'm with you there. I love Vin as well. Yeah. So, do you have any lingering questions or mysteries from Mistborn Era 1?
I do.
Yeah?
But now you've put me on the spot. I
Oh
can't
no!
remember them.
This was going to be my first, like, the bit that I've been looking forward for you to do.
Well, I know that the Kendra come back.
How do you know that?
Because they spoke about the Kendra coming back.
Oh, did they?
At the beginning of Alloy of Law.
Yeah.
Wax talks about how his friend in his town was talking about how he had a talking horse at one point and he was laughing about it. So that's how I know that the Kendra
So you know the Kendra come back, yeah. I think I told you that the current Era 2 was kind of the initial inciting idea was Brandon really liked the idea of a cowboy with a talking horse. Yeah. And so I think that's a tribute to that. That is.
I really can't remember.
You can't think?
Now that you've put me on the spot, I
That's
can't
fine.
remember. I did have stuff.
Yeah.
I did, because not everything was answered.
Yeah.
You obviously don't encounter all of the metals.
Yeah.
Even though it tells you that there's more metals.
Yeah. Ooh, I have a question. How many metals did Sazed tell Spook that there was left in the end?
16.
Oh, so he just said there's 16?
Yeah.
Okay, so
but
he
you
didn't
don't meet any of the new metals.
Yes, I was going to say, because I believe when I first read it, he tells him, oh, there's 2 you don't know of.
Yeah.
But that's because they're counting atium and lerasium. Lerasium is the metal that makes you Mistborn.
Yeah.
They count lerasium and atium, and so that makes 14 metals. And then so when Sazed says, oh, there's 2 more you don't know about, it's like, oh, okay, so there's 2 more we don't know about, but then you go into Era 2 and there's actually 4 more they don't know about because there's 16 base metals and then the 2 god metals which shouldn't have been counted within the 16. But yeah, and I can't remember if they've fixed that or whether they've just left it in with Caesar just being wrong.
Caesar's just wrong because
Caesar's
no one
just
likes
wrong.
Caesar.
Oh man, I'm looking forward to finding out your opinion of Caesar in Era 2. Not that you see much of him, don't worry, but
I hope not.
I have opinions.
Well, he talks to Wax.
Oh, okay, so you've already got that far.
Yeah, because Wax is obviously following the religion, and part of that is you put an earring in your ear.
Yeah.
You get to be Vim for 15 minutes a day, and obviously hemology. So obviously, if he's got the earring in his ear, Sazed can hear.
Sazed, because now
Sazed can like take control.
Yeah.
So obviously he's talking out loud, so Sazed can hear what he's saying, and he's responding to him.
Yeah.
And Wax is like, it's probably just my imagination, and it's like, no, it's him.
It's
We're stuck with him.
big man in the sky. It's the big
We're
S.
stuck with him instead of Vin. We could have had Vin.
Vin
Just
wasn't
saying.
right. Vin definitely wasn't right for preservation. Come on. Vin had the preservation shard. She was like the least suitable person for preservation.
She tried.
She tried.
Yeah,
like the one thing she successfully did was kill someone with it.
Yeah?
Which is explicitly not what it's for.
Excuse me. But it's probably part of preservation somewhere.
Probably somewhere, yeah. I think that it's quite funny when they talk about the different magics and how they are representatives of their shard. They say like the reason Allomancy gives you like these abilities is it allows you to preserve yourself better because you can defend yourself because you can like fly and manipulate people's emotions. It's like wonky, like ruins hemalurgy. You ruin stuff to take the power.
Yeah.
But it works. Close enough. It's close enough. Cool. So I think that's about it. So yeah, you're going through Alloy of Law now. I say we make another one of these after Secret History. So
Okay.
you do all of Era 2 and then do Secret History. And then immediately after finishing Secret History,
We
talk. Then
Okay.
we'll do another one.
Cool.
And then we'll see where we go from there. I think you should do Warbreaker. Other people will probably think you should do Elantris.
I was gonna say,
Yeah.
looking at fan art,
Yeah.
don't hate me. I think Elantris is probably where I'll go after.
Really? Interesting. Okay, cool.
It looks more interesting.
All right. Cool. When we get to it, I don't want to cloud your judgments.
Plus, Warbreaker's like what 5,000 pages.
Oh my god, Warbreaker. No, Warbreaker's it's not one of the Stormlight Archive ones. Now those I'll be very interested to find your opinion of.
Yeah.
Warbreaker's like the same length as like Mistborn.
I was looking on your shelf. It's like yay thick.
Which one?
I'm
Was
sure
it the
it's
leather bound?
Warbreaker.
The
No.
You're not thinking Oathbringer, are you?
Am I thinking of Way of Kings?
You might be thinking
I'm
Way of
thinking
Kings.
of Way
You're
of
probably
Kings.
thinking Way of Kings.
I am.
Way of Kings is like that. Words of Radiance is like that. These things are cinder blocks.
Yeah.
No, Warbreaker and Elantris and Mistborn are all kind of the same length, like the
Yeah.
individual Mistborns. So yeah, we'll go. We'll see what you want to do next after Era 2. But
Yeah.
hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know. Follow us on the17thshot.com. We've got Twitter. We've got a YouTube. We got. I don't know. What else we got? We got
don't know.
MySpace. Yeah, we got a MySpace.
Got a Bebo.
We've got a Bebo. You know, put us on your friends list on your phone, and then give us money through Patreon. We have one of those. And then, bye.
Bye.